Hey, I'm Nico, and here are 30 useless facts you didn't know about The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. Nintendo truly wanted to make a different Zelda experience and had tons of ideas that never made it to the end product. One of these ideas was a bunch of UFOs invading Hyrule and abducting cows, which is a very weird idea, but still, that wouldn't be the first time aliens were present in a Zelda game. To better illustrate what they had in mind, the development team actually created a classic 2D Zelda game prototype to showcase how different elements would react together. You know, like shooting an arrow through a fire to set a bush on fire. This is truly insane, and I'd love to be able to play that 2D prototype one day. Eiji Aonuma pitched a motorcycle early in development, but the entire team was like, what are you talking about? We don't want that. Well, Aonuma got the last laugh, as the DLC for this game eventually gave you an option to ride a motorcycle through Hyrule. Alice, a video game modder, actually made an insane discovery while playing around with the game. The NPCs in Breath of the Wild use an advanced version of the Miis, meaning that with a bit of advanced modding, you can actually inject your Miis into the game. Alice actually injected their own Mii in the game, as well as Matt from Wii Sports and a couple more. This is so cool! During development, the team was often ordered to stop working and start playing the entire game. In the early stage of development, this would take the team about a day, but near the end, they needed to play for more than a week. The rule was that you had to play the entire game before going back to work. Well, technically, playing the game at that point was their work, but still. Climbing is probably the thing you'll be doing the most while playing Breath of the Wild. And during development, the team actually implemented a mechanic where you could take your weapon and stab it into a wall to rest and replenish your stamina. When shown to Shigeru Miyamoto, he didn't like it and said it was unrealistic and wanted this out. So next time you fall down a cliff because you ran out of stamina, well, just blame Miyamoto. Speaking of making climbing hard, don't you just hate it when it starts raining and you're stuck waiting for it to stop before resuming your climb? Well, me too. Once again, during development, the team thought about giving Link a weapon or a tool that allowed him to bend nature to his will. In the end, the team thought that having Link fight against nature and not being able to control it was actually more fun in the grand scheme of things. And you know what? I think they're right. If you're wondering why HD Rumble isn't in this launch title for the Switch, well, you can blame the Wii U. Yep, the team wanted both versions to be equal, and giving epic rumbling features to the Switch would probably penalize Wii U owners. Aonuma stated that he got some inspiration for Breath of the Wild from playing Skyrim. He played the game wondering what people would expect from an open world to better understand how to shape Breath of the Wild. I think I can safely say that he got it just right. A bunch of characters from this game were inspired from real-life animals. Mipha was modeled after a dolphin, Muzu a manta ray, Sidon a hammerhead shark, and King Dorephan was inspired by a whale. During the E3 2016 Nintendo Treehouse livestream, it was shown that the Chica Slate could be used to tag enemies and reveal their health points, which is a feature that ended up being cut from the final game. It's a shame because I really liked this idea when it was first shown. The team considered having a bunch of tiny towns, forcing Link to shrink himself in order to visit them, kinda like Minish Cap did on the Game Boy Advance. Sadly, this was cut, but it was a neat idea nonetheless. Zelda Breath of the Wild is the first Zelda game to not feature music from composer Koji Kondo, who created the most popular Zelda songs to this day. Apparently, Nintendo wanted something more subtle and more ambient, so that's why he was left out of this project. The game originally featured a lot of touch controls that ended up being removed from the final product. Keep in mind that this game was first developed for the Wii U, so when they switched to a cross-platform release, well, they had to take that into consideration. There is a location in the game featuring a beautiful tree and a legendary mount called the Lord of the Mountain. This region was a tribute to the 4th president and CEO of Nintendo, Satoru Iwata. Wow, that's genuinely nice what they did for the guy. Can you believe that this game started off with a development team of less than 10 people? This small team helped flesh out ideas for the game for about a year, and then when the game was finally approved, well, development shifted to a way bigger team. The Guardians in Breath of the Wild share similarities with Pottery from the Jomon period, which existed from around 14,000 to 300 BC. Flip this pottery upside down, and yup, you got yourself a spooky guardian. If you're wondering how huge the world of Hyrule is in Breath of the Wild, well, user Distify compared it to other games like Ocarina of Time 3D and Twilight Princess. And as it turns out, Breath of the Wild is 12 times larger than Twilight Princess. Speaking of, how long does it take to walk the entire perimeter of this map? Well, YouTube user Glad did the experience, and the results are surprising. It took them about 3 hours and 19 minutes to walk the entire map. Whew. Now this is dedication. The title for best-selling Zelda game of all time was owned by Zelda Twilight Princess with 8.8 million copies sold on the Wii. Well, Breath of the Wild crushed this record and sold 27.1 million copies on Switch. Wow! A bit less impressive is the amount of copies sold on Wii U. A total of 1.7 million copies were sold, which is far less than the Switch, but still allows this game to be in the top 15 best-selling Wii U games. Poor Wii U. Cooking is a big part of Breath of the Wild, and you might be wondering how to learn new recipes. Well, you know, without googling them. Well, visit your local stable and look at the walls, and you'll find some cool recipes to try. Breath of the Wild is the first Zelda game with voice acting, and Zelda actually sounds British. You'd think it's because the voice actress, Patricia Somerset, is British. But nope, she's an American actress and singer. She's just doing an accent. The Great Plateau is the first area you get to visit when starting the game. It sort of acts as the tutorial area for the game, and apparently this area was the first one created by the development team, so in a way, it was a tutorial area for them too. One of the most iconic enemies in Breath of the Wild is the Guardian, and I couldn't picture it looking different. But, as it turns out, this was the case with early prototypes. There was one which looked like a spider, or another one that looked like a crab. These things are terrifying, but for all the wrong reasons. Visiting towns and speaking to the people that live there is part of this game, but if you want to have extra fun with the inhabitants of Hyrule, well, just wear a costume that makes you look scary, and then all of a sudden, everybody is gonna be terrified by you. Oh, come on guys, I'm not that ugly. Idling animation in games is very common, occurring when you just stop touching the controller and you wait for a while. Well, if you do that with a shirtless Link, he'll start flexing his muscles. Wow, I didn't know Link was a bag. Are you hungry and you want some fish, but you hate fishing? Well, grab an electric arrow and shoot it in the water, and well, as you can see, the results speak for themselves. When you finally get all 900 Korok seeds, you are rewarded with possibly the most disappointing reward of them all. A pile of poop. Bro, that's nasty. Last but not least, while visiting Gerudo town, you'll notice this weird looking tarp hanging above some shops. And while I was looking at it from afar, I soon realized that it was something else. Yup, it is a Gerudo bra. Here is a comparison of the tarp and a real-life Gerudo. Yeah, clever Nintendo, clever, but that's not really family friendly. Thanks a lot for watching the video. I hope you learned something today. And if you want more fun facts, well, tap the cards on screen right now. As for me, I'll see you in the next one. Bye!